Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Madalene, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mary. I'm good, thank you. Oh, well.
That's awesome. So let's start. Where will we start? What does personal development mean to you today? I know your mindset is something that you speak of, but what does personal development mean to you today?
Still everything. Because personal development to me is an ongoing thing. You can never give it up, because no matter how much I feel that you've grown, you go forward in life, those little voices or whatever it is that's going on for you, for your growth, they pop up every now and then. But I think personal development then gives you the tools to deal with those, because you know yourself more. So ongoing personal development, 100%. Love it.
That is fantastic. And what would be the most important thing? You mentioned mindset, I know. Tell me about why you think mindset's important.
Because with mindset, if you do not have, you can't really be you unless you have found that mindset. For me, it's being stuck in a place that is can be a very dark place, whatever it is. You don't experience the light out there. You don't experience all the different parts of you. And if you continuously have this negative mindset, you are never, ever going to achieve what in all of us can achieve in ourselves. We just have to be open to it. Just have to be open to it. And open to new experiences, even though we're fearful or whatever it is. You know, you just have to put that step forward just a little bit. And that comes from the mindset of, you know, I can do it, even if it's the smallest sort of step. So having a mindset that's the only way, because if you do, there is no other way. You have a choice. You can choose to have a mindset that is going to move you, or you can stay stuck. And it's all about choice.
Do you believe then, because I like what you're saying, agree with what you're saying, do you believe that everyone is fully aware that they have a choice about this?
No, I don't think they are. Not for 1 minute. You know, I didn't know when I was going, you know, growing up and getting into my teens and 20s and 30s. I think I said that it wasn't in me to have a choice. I didn't know what a choice was. One of the very, very first counselors I saw, the very first one, she said to me, I want you to go away and think about your needs. And I thought, what earth is she talking about? I had no idea. What's a need? What? I had no idea what a boundary was. None whatsoever. What's a boundary? And it sounds like, really, you didn't know what those things are, but it truly is. It truly is. You know, that's why I think that I am so passionate, and I work perhaps a bit more deeply with clients, because some of our internalized self is not our true self. It's been internalized from other people, from the people that have projected their stuff, and we've taken that all on. So part of the work, I think, for me, it has always been, you know, get rid of those voices that you hear. That's not your voice. Where have you heard that voice from? You know, that what's coming out of you, right? And then, you know, I remember thinking, well, who am I then if I don't have that voice coming out of me? And that's where my work comes in now, because you start to allow with a blank canvas. It's like putting a jigsaw to a puzzle. How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts on that? And then this little voice came out of me. Well, I think I'm not sure. And yeah, so no, I really don't think, going back to your question, people aren't aware, a lot of people aren't aware that they have a choice. They don't even know what a choice is. That I truly believe.
I like what you're saying about, I use the term, that voice comes from another.
Yeah.
But before that, it's about awareness, isn't it? You know, and I love what you're saying about the curiosity. You know, what is it that I need? Like, the question wasn't, what do you want? Because usually we want that, and we want that, and I want that, and I want that, you know, but need? Do I have need? What the hell are you talking about? You know, and boundaries. So foreign. Yeah, exactly.
I was just, you know, a 30-year plus body that was the body of a 30-year-old, but it was the inner workings of a child. A child that took on what, you know, the like I say, if you internalize it, if you have good parenting, that's great. If you don't, then, you know, those very early days, they are the footprint for everybody. You know, like they say, you're no good or this and that. So you take that on, and you know, and your speech. You know, I come from that era where, you know, you sit, be a good girl. Don't talk. You know, and have a voice then. You don't, you know, you've been told that that's not right. That's not what you do. And so therefore you carry that on. And I think my first awareness of something that I was beginning to repeat was, I had my first son very young. I was very young when I had my children. I was just 20 when I had my son, and I didn't know what to do with him. What do I do with this crying baby? How do you nurture when you've not been nurtured yourself in that sense? And probably, you know, I found myself in 2.5 days. I started pointing my finger at him. I started saying, you should, and I first realizing, oh my God, that's my mum's voice. Yeah, and that was my first. It was just like a bulk of it. That was it. That was. I remember that completely.
I love that. That is so true. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just think it's a classic. You know, when you're speaking to your kids, I speak to my dogs, and I think, oh, that's so funny. That is my mother. And I'm not a young chick, and I laugh constantly about that. And then you wonder why our kids or grandkids come out with what they do, because they heard it from you, and people go, where did he or she get that from? And you go, oh, I think that's me. I love it.
Right, so we are. I truly believe unless we have been brought up in a place where you know, our own parents have an awareness of what they do. I mean, they don't know. It's not about blame. It's not about anything. It's who they are and what they know. And it's only now that through me and then my own children and all the, I mean, the traumas that I had then went on, you know, they've gone throughout life with divorces and loss and all that sort of thing. And my 3 children have gone through so much. And, you know, I played a part in some of their damage as well. But what I think we can do as parents is that once we learn ourselves, then it is the greatest thing you learn from your children, and being open to look at yourself, be able to hold your hand up and say, yeah, I got it wrong there. That's where I was at that time, and having that channeling of two-way conversations. You know, they're really adults now, and I've got obviously grandchildren, but I now have reached the stage where I think, well, I've done a good enough job. I hope that I've been able to change how they are with their children. You know, that they can like some of the goodness, and you know that perhaps I can share with them.
I like what you're saying about, you know, that you were part of some of, I'm going to call them challenges, some of their troublesome times, and taking ownership for that. And then as you learn from them, you can then reflect, oh, that's interesting. I didn't do that very well, but I'm learning now from you, because sometimes the roles get reversed. And I think that that is such a gutsy thing. Do you believe that's an easy thing for, let's say, most parents to be able to say, oops, I think I got that wrong?
Oh, I don't think it is. I think nobody wants to. Very hard to look at yourself, and it takes strength and courage to look at yourself and to take ownership. But then it's the most liberating and freeing experience than looking around in shame, looking around with guilt, looking about with something not feeling right, or whatever it is. So yeah, and it's only then, by taking ownership, that you then can start having an adult relationship. Because you're then helping them, and that's the main thing, isn't it? You are then, by being able to think, okay, this is wrong, or oh, I could have done that differently, and everything. You are then helping your children, whoever it is. You are then freeing them up as well, for them to explore further. And for them not to have to feel bad. You know, children feel guilty, children feel all those things, because they think sometimes it's their fault, but they've done that. They're the problem.
And what you're saying is that the key to having adult relationships is for all parties to take responsibility for themselves. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, it's relationships. It's a two-way thing. You know, it's a two-way. We have to open up that bit of the middle, that, you know, under the umbrella of a relationship. You know, so many dynamics go on. You know, in couples as well, so many different dynamics go on, the projections to one another, you know, each other experiencing another person from the past that's been, you know, recreated with that person and stuff like that. And it's not really happening at all. It's all in our own story. And so therefore being able to communicate, when you said that, I felt this is what was going on for me. And you said, and the other person said, oh my God, no, that's not at all what I meant whatsoever. Actually, so communication in relationships, oh my God, it's a minefield.
Absolutely. Well said with that one. If you've just joined us live today, we are speaking to Madalene Wimble from the UK, psychotherapist, entrepreneur. Oh my gosh, grandmother. I could go on, couldn't I? But what I want you to do is give Madalene some feedback. She's saying some really potent things here today, and I don't want you to miss one thing. But tell her how you're feeling about this interaction we're having today. This is powerful learning, folks, especially when we're talking about generational learning, how to look back on the generations and then see what we can take forward. So make some comments. Madalene, what about that? Generational learning, and sometimes we go backwards. We don't always go forwards, do we?
I'm from the belief that to go forward, we do have to sometimes go back. There's a lot out there for, no, you don't have to look at your past, you know, just think forward, you know, the past is the past, and, you know, just move forward. Yeah, right. But are you truly then moving forward as a person that has been able to revisit stuff that's never ever been healed or worked on, and for that to happen, sometimes you have to visit painful places. Otherwise, you know, you can keep looking forward, but then, in my experience, the volcano will always erupt, no matter how it was. I think I said this to you last week, that yes, it is about positive thinking. Yes, it is about mindset. But unless you understand why it's there in the first place, or you are still carrying feelings from whatever it is that are perhaps not healthy, that are holding you back, how can you possibly go forward? But you can only do so much with your mindset. That being a whole person, mind, heart, and body is all connected. And what we do as small children sometimes is to get rid of painful feelings. We live in our head. We don't connect to our bodies. And living in our heads is a great defense to live in your head. But if you're living in your head and you've got all this knowledge and you're fabulous at being, analytical or whatever it is, you're not being a whole person, because everything that you need is being able to talk about how you feel about something. And if you can't connect to your feelings, then and some of the problem is, like myself, I had no idea how to name the feeling, how to name it, put a name to it. So you have to know what the feeling is, and part of my job would be to sit and say, this perhaps is this what, and exploring that feeling. And then you can help that person start naming things, so that when things are, whatever is going on in their life, that it's just like, right at this moment when you said that, I am feeling blah 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 blah, and it's giving people a voice. You talk about the inner voice, the inner voice that is speaking. So yes, I suppose then it is really, really important to revisit sometimes, not stay there, but you're stuck there anyway, but you're in denial. You just, I'll just keep moving forward.
Well, I think what you're saying about the volcano is so true, because you can keep going focused and forward and just ploughing on, but every now and again you're looking forward through your history, which then distorts what you're actually making decisions on that are not true for now, because you're so busy. What's that saying? Bullet a gate. You're just going for it, and then that distorts the perspective. And I've heard that saying so many times. The past is the past, and well, you can only do that for so long. And you mentioned defendedness. I've got a little saying, and it goes like this: the level of my defendedness is the level of my fragility.
Yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful saying. Yes, that is beautiful. Yeah, because we're all fragile underneath. We all, we're all scared of having our hearts broken for loss and all that thing, so you don't want to get close to somebody because we all have huge defenses because we just don't want to go there. But we can go there, but we can do it in a healthy way, as healthy as we can be, and know how to move on when we are, our fragility is touched upon. It's having that awareness again. It's definitely having that awareness again, and an awareness of your whole true self. I totally know when, we all go on head level occasionally. We have to when we're working quickly and we go into that head level and everything. But so much more rewarding when your voice is coming from you and from your soul. That's hidden for so many people. We all hide it. We all do it. But meeting like-minded people, everything, that then gives us the security and the safeness to expose those children inside of us.
Absolutely. And I think that fragility is something that needs to be a little bit sacred, needs to be used with discernment. Maybe that whole thing of our cheer squad or our circle of influence of like-minded people can help us to deal with our fragility. What do you think of that whole notion of the people we surround ourselves as who we are? What do they say? We are the sum of the 5 or 6 people that we surround ourselves with. What do you think about all
that? Yes, I agree with you. I think that it's like having a third eye. I say from a child I've had a third eye because that's what kept me safe. By being the person who would look in something but not be part of something, I would see what was going on rather than be in it, because I learned to do that because that was safe rather than being in that place with people. And then that third eye has served me well, because then for me, people have to earn my trust, because it's not something I feel that should be given away lightly to whoever comes into your world. It's sacred to surround yourself with people that you can trust enough.
Trust. Gosh, we could be here all week if we start talking about trust and how do we build it.
So difficult. It is so difficult. Trust is, the workshops themselves on trust, on shame, on guilt. So the areas of relationships, this fascinates me. Relationships. That's why I went into train as a couple therapist. Like I think I said to you, I initially trained as an individual therapist, academic therapist. And then I realised that, and I was having huge problems with my second husband, and I thought, it's like we go into something where we try to heal ourselves. So hence I thought, oh, really, I need to find out more. I need to work on this. And, you know, I went on to train at the Tavistock in London that I knew nothing about. I'm dyslexic. I went there for this interview, and it wasn't until I was told that, yeah, you know, you can come, you know, we'll take you on, that I found out that actually it was a well-renowned place in London. It was, you know, specialised in with the Freudians and the Jungs and the and I was like a little girl there. I was with very professors and all these sort of people that were, I call, you know, they well versed. They were just me. I was no good at writing stuff, and I was no good on the theory and everything, but put me in a room with somebody, the clinical work, I would then go afterwards to supervision, and supervisor would say, or the people that I was with would say, oh my God, you're so intelligent. And I went, intelligent? I can't write. But it was, I picked up an emotional intelligence through my own story, and from having that third eye where I'd zoom the room and the people, and I'd know exactly, maybe it's like having a gift, I knew exactly what was going on. And then but I then had to put it all down in passing my exams, doing my dissertation and everything, and I just passed. And it took me ages. What people did in like perhaps 2 weeks took me months. Together, I could not put it on paper. That you know, it was in there, but then try and another voice would come out. But put it on paper. How do you do that?
Well, there you go. And a whole new version of intelligence was born for you. I love that. If you're watching today, this is Mary Scott. I'm with Madalene Wimble. You are on the Personal Development Hub, all things personal development. This is juicy stuff. Emotional intelligence, mindset, oh my gosh. And who's the bright one? How do you decide? Am I bright enough? Am I good enough? Am I being loved enough? Am I lovable? Oh, look at that can of worms I just said then, Madalene. Holy heck.
It takes years to well, that's all to do with your needs as well, isn't it?
Oh, those things that we just found out about.
Those things, actually, that's all I do now. Sorry, I need this.
Yeah.
Relationship. Actually, my needs are not being met. It's, you know, this is just not about you. This is about us. You know, so I am very, very much now like, actually, you know, I think it's a constant thing. You do have to keep reminding yourself, what's happened here? What's just happened here? And it is very much about taking stock, thinking, what's just happened here? How do you feel? Talk about the feeling again, because if you live in your head, you wouldn't know that. So how am I feeling? That doesn't feel right. Why doesn't that feel right? That I haven't thought about here. And that's only then, yeah, it's a minefield. So
Oh, absolutely.
it's a minefield, and I love it because
me too.
it's a challenge, and you know, it's something that I just don't think that challenges of relationships, they're ongoing, and I think that you either continue to work at it, and if one person isn't prepared to work at it, then you walk away. because it does need both of you. It does need both of you. And loving yourself enough then to say, my needs are not being met. And you have the right to have your needs met. And
even if you don't believe it now.
Yes. Yeah. So, am I good enough? Am I lovable enough? Do I have the right to say this? Should I? Is it okay? You know, and I think it's also about how you reframe things to people. You know, when you, instead of, one of the things that I have learned is not saying to the other person, you need to change, or you need to. I think it's the way you frame it is actually, this is taking ownership and saying, actually, this is really affecting me, and perhaps I don't want this in my life. You're not asking the other person to change. What you're doing is you're allowing the other person to make a decision that, oh my God, if she doesn't want it, then maybe I need to do something about it, which is very different than that confrontation of the blame, that then people end up just like, and nothing's dulled.
It's right.
You only go on to the next relationship, replaying the past continuously.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what you were saying a little while ago about taking responsibility for yourself. The other thing I like about that approach is you're speaking from this perspective of yourself. It's not working for me because, rather than what you're doing to me is, and that just sets that in motion. Whereas if you're saying, hey, this isn't working, I feel disrespected or whatever, then it opens up the whole notion of, really? Wow. And what's my part in this? If you're really in a relationship that brings, I was trying to think of the word, brings equality, I want to say, because equality is not something I see a lot in relationships actually these days. A greater than, less than thing goes on, and taking responsibility and being able to name things. This isn't working for me. What I'd like is, it's like it gives space for the other person to actually enter into the discussion rather than the fisticuffs. Is that something? Well, I mean, it's almost rhetorical, because I believe that's how and who you are anyway. You're giving space all the time for the interaction. Is forgive me if I've assumed that.
No, absolutely. Space, having that space. I didn't know what space was years ago. For me, it was about merging with somebody. When people used to talk about, soulmate, and that my other half, but we are not halves, we are whole people. And it's two people like dancing. You come together and you dance, and then you come together, and you're having that creative space between you. If you're merged, then why would you want another person to be the other half of you? Who will, take that back, because you've got it yourself.
Yes, beautifully said. Beautifully said. And that whole codependence thing is absolutely running rife, isn't it? And the assumption is that I have to be with you because I need to be whole. I think that's what he's saying.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And I think for the majority of us, we do go through life like that until maybe in personal development, therapy and whatever, then you realise that actually I don't need to be with somebody because they make me feel better. I'm with somebody because I want to be with them, have a choice. They don't make me they're not what's making me somebody who become a person. I'm a person in my own right with them, alongside them.
Yes, beautiful. I always talk about being comfortable in my own skin. And I was talking to someone today and I was saying, at age 20, did I feel comfortable in my own skin? Hell no. You know, it's something that's taken a bit of work. Excuse me. And I think that's what you're saying. If you've got two people comfortable in their own skin, can you hear the birds?
Yes.
Oh, that's kookaburras going crazy. My goodness, they're so loud. I'm sorry that they interrupted it. That's amazing. So let's go back to being comfortable in your own skin. They absolutely distracted me. It was like they were going to come in my window then. That was kind of weird.
Thinking, what's going on there?
Look, I think we're going to leave it there. You are certainly someone that is very, well, you certainly seem very comfortable in your own skin. You're personable, you're open, you're just gorgeous. And thanks so much for your giving approach and sharing so much wisdom. And you know what, Madalene, I might get you back for a third time because I'm having a great time here. I don't know when, but I thank you. I really appreciate you giving up your early morning because I know how precious that is to you. And have a beautiful day. And once again, thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching live or if you've just joined us, or if you watch the replay, put #replay, give Madalene some feedback. Tell us both what you thought of this conversation today. There was quite a bit of diving in, talking about juicy stuff that matter in our lives. So do leave some comments. Madalene, have a lovely day. See you next time.
This week's episode has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.